Okay, here we are live. Excuse us for being a little bit late. We had to deal with some tech issues, but we made it. So we are
Mm-hmm.
here. It's myself, and I am an energy and healing consultant. And today we're talking about how to match your heart account with your bank account. So, as you know, Amanda, she helps entrepreneurs, multi six figure and above entrepreneurs get their systems into a state where they can live a more effortlessly flowy life while also building their bank and also making sure they're making an impact. And myself, I'm someone that helps with making sure that your energy is a place where you can continue to build, where you can continue to make an impact, while also making sure that you're nourishing yourself in the process and not forgetting who you are and what you're meant to do while you're here. So today we're going to be talking today about those things, and I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Amanda Renouf. I am a Forbes and BBC News featured Fractal COO and business operations mentor. And I've been in the space for 11 years. And I also just got married last year.
Oh, wow.
So my anniversary for both is in October. So it's really beautiful.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you. And so I help really powerful women get the freedom they set out to get when they started their business through systems and specifically team support. So training up different team members to help them as they grow and scale their businesses.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, super glad to be in your space, and congratulations on getting married and having your business anniversary at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right, so let's get started. So, one of the things that I've realized when talking with, multi six figure, seven figure entrepreneurs, and they're making an impact and they finally realize, hey, I'm doing this thing and they can see themselves scaling even more, is that even though they've made this huge amount of money, huge amount of impact, and they see themselves having the potential to do more, sometimes they hold themselves back, even at that level, with people pleasing, with the thought that they have to be nice in order to continue to attract the things that they desire. And what I mean by being nice is that we have been conditioned to think that nice means putting ourselves second. It means making sure that everybody else is comfortable ahead of ourselves. It can also mean, especially as someone that's a multi six, seven figure entrepreneur, that they don't really want to navigate difficult conversations with people that are in their space, that are in, somewhat control of their ability to scale perhaps on their team, and they're starting to notice that perhaps a certain relationship on their team or even outside of their team may be hindering their progress. And in trying to be the nice person, be the nice girl, they are avoiding conversations where they can actually perhaps either implement new systems where they can scale faster with a particular person, or avoiding conversations where that person perhaps needs to be let go. Again, people pleasing. So is this something that you're seeing in your container with your clients, Amanda?
Yeah, actually, I see a little bit of one of these two extremes. So I either see the martyrer. So the
Mhm.
martyrer is the extreme people pleaser who will just like jump in and say, I'll just do it for you. Or like,
Mm.
this just needs to get done. So we'll just do it this way.
Mhm.
And like, we'll kind of like baby their team.
Mhm.
Or the diva. And the diva will have like an extreme end of it where it's like, well, I changed my mind like 24 hours before open cart. So we just have to do this because this is what I want, not taking
Mm.
into account like the well being or the needs of their team. And so it's really like on a spectrum of leadership, whether you're either the martyr or you're the diva. And you
Mhm.
don't want to be in either extreme. The martyrer, you're going to burn out and want to like escape to Bali and like burn your business to the ground. And
Right.
the diva, you're going to actually want to do the same, like burn your business to the ground, but for a different reason because you can't hold on to team.
Mhm. Mm. Mm. I'm interested in knowing more about how the diva manages uh conflict resolution, because it sounds like they have the opposite of the nice girl syndrome. They perhaps are the everybody be nice to me syndrome, while I don't have to necessarily adhere to those same conditions. So, how do
Mm-hmm.
you navigate working with someone that is a diva and that is perhaps a little bit uh, less concerned about how they make other people feel?
Yeah. So when we go into like the psychology of the diva, what really
Mhm.
comes down is a responsibility edge.
Mm,
So what ends up happening is they think just because I'm hiring all these team, right? Like that means I have zero responsibility in my
mm,
business, but I get all the benefits, aka like the revenue, the income flow, all of that.
mm-hmm.
Versus with the martyr, they take on too much responsibility in an extreme. And
Mm.
so in their scenario, they need to actually learn to give up more of the responsibility.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if they like. It sounds like both of them have different emotional needs that aren't necessarily being adhered to. With the martyr, I can easily see that perhaps they make themselves responsible for other people's emotions, and in doing that, they diminish their own emotions and they make sure that everybody else is okay while they're suffering on the inside, usually, and it can build some sort of resentment and angst for the people that are around them, perhaps even within themselves. And they're usually someone that can either implode, where they're starting to feel some sort of depression or anxiety, or they explode out of nowhere, and that obviously creates some lower morale with their team. Whereas the diva, what's interesting for me with that one is that it sounds like they give off a lot of responsibility. That's what I'm hearing. Like it's everybody else's responsibility to make sure that my vision comes to fruition, even if I'm not doing my own due diligence. But it doesn't also sound like their emotions are being adhered to in a way where it's healthy. It sounds more like they're making people responsible for making sure that they feel good. And it's almost like that dynamic is quite interesting to me. So when it comes to that, how are you navigating implementing systems for both polarities of those clients?
Yeah, so when it comes to the martyr type, we want to focus more on the recurring tasks and getting things off her plate. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, she has a unique vision
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like how she wants things done, right?
You're right.
And with that vision, she needs to be able to put it into SOPs and recurring tasks, get it off her plate so that she doesn't have to always be jumping in to fix those things.
Mm-hmm.
With the diva, what we actually need to do and put in place on her end is we actually have to have more structure and
Mm-hmm.
put things in place where we can update things and be able to switch those out. Like, you know, if she wants to change her mind, we should have like templated launch templates in the back so that she can do so.
Mm. Interesting. So it sounds for me with the diva, with the needing more structure, perhaps they feel like their creative abilities are hindered by structure, and that perhaps their feminine energy is hindered by having these systems that maybe they feel confined to. Is that something that you see happening a lot with the diva type?
Yeah, I would say so. When it comes to the diva type, what I see is they're so connected to the creativity aspect,
Mm-hmm.
where they're not connected to what the business actually needs to be structured, right? And to be able um, to run efficiently and be functional, right? There, every business has like its tasks in terms of what it needs to be functional. And then it's kind of like when you build a house, they're more concerned with the curtains, like what the curtains look like, versus like making sure that the home is structurally sound and doesn't fall.
Mm.
So they can get really lost in the details of like graphics and design and all these different pieces. And so what you want to do is we kind of want to balance the leadership. So if you notice you're too much in the martyr energy, give up some of the responsibility to team a bit more. If you're too much in the diva energy, take on a little bit more leadership responsibility in terms of how you're coaching and setting up your team for success.
Wow. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. So what I'm hearing too, like what I'm hearing from like an esoteric perspective is that the martyr seems to need more of the nurturing, of the hey, it's okay to not have to do everything, it's okay. Perhaps that martyr even felt like as a child that they had to take care of themselves and that it was their responsibility to make sure that everything was running smoothly. Perhaps they even took on the emotional weight of our parents, which is what many kids do out of love, is like taking the emotional burdens of our parents, especially when we feel that our parents are stressed or are going through things and they make it their responsibility. It sounds like the martyr does that even into their adulthood. And perhaps it's a failing of safety for them to always have to be the one that makes everybody feel good. But then, eventually your energy runs out. So for the martyr, if the martyr falls for you, anybody that's listening, I would definitely say that being not like unconditioning yourself from needing to be the nice person is extremely important to making sure that your emotional needs are taken care of. So, getting back to why you had to be the nice person, what parent perhaps, and this isn't to blame your parents, it's just to understand yourself at a deeper level. Um, and I feel like this is something that we all should do because we're all literally um, manifestations of our 7-year-old self, of our 14-year-old self, of our 21-year-old self, still trying to navigate this adult world. So, what parent perhaps made you feel like you had to earn their love more, and what did you have to do to earn their love, and how do you see those patterns still playing out now that you live adult life? Because I can almost ask you and guarantee, excuse me, I can almost guarantee you that whatever emotions that you weren't able to display as a child are the reasons why those emotions aren't being able to be displayed right now, and why you're doing some of the emotional projecting that you are right now as an adult. So, what weren't you allowed to be? How weren't you allowed to act? What weren't you allowed to feel in a particular parent relationship? And how is that now affecting your ability to show up in a higher level leadership way for your business? Because if your heart account, again, isn't taken care of, if you aren't making sure that those emotional needs are being taken care of right now, then it's going to show up in your business.
Totally. And I love how you pointed that out right there, especially when it comes to the mindset aspect of it and our childhood. Like, we bring a lot of like our childhood woundings or traumas into how like we lead and show up in our business.
Right.
And the question I would have for you is like, when you hear about like the martyr and when you hear about the diva, how would you coach or mentor them?
Well, with the martyr, because I feel like I can definitely relate to the martyr more. There's a few times where the diva comes out for sure, but I can relate to the martyr more. For the martyr, for her, I would ask her what she needs to make sure that she isn't adhering to some uh, standards that were never meant to be hers in the first place. What rules are you adhering to, these invisible rules of how you should be and how you should act and what good behaving is? How is that now affecting if you're watering down your message as an entrepreneur? Perhaps you didn't feel like you could say everything that you wanted to say without being considered bad or without being rejected by a certain parent, and not even just a parent, because I think my parents are amazing people and that they did the very best that they could. So I never want to make it seem like I'm blaming anybody. But I also want to make sure that we understand that those relationships are still playing out in our adult lives. So what was you, how did you feel like you had to earn the love of a particular parent? And perhaps that's now showing up in the way where you are in your business and you feel like you have to earn the love of your clients, you have to earn the love of your team. And if you say something wrong, someone will immediately leave your life. Or if you do something wrong, you're going to be considered, you're going to have to wear the scarlet letter and be casted out. If those things will definitely show up in how you navigate conversations and how powerfully you show up as your authentic self. And again, as an entrepreneur, if you're saying the things you truly want to say, or if you're watering down what you're saying in your copy because you're afraid that someone will cancel you. And again, that goes back to you feeling like perhaps you had to earn a place in a parent's life. And for the diva, in all honesty, while the martyr makes themselves responsible for other people's emotions, I feel like the diva has never really gotten in touch with themselves enough where they understand that it's not just about them. And I've definitely been in that energy before where I'm kind of just like, oh, screw that, screw you, screw this, screw that. It's all about moi. But then I have to come back and rebuild some of the burns that I've excuse me, rebuild some of the things that I've broken down, right? And then that's not easy. So perhaps that to me comes from uh, a feeling of peace that anger is irrelevant. So perhaps the anger that they're feeling is giving them a false sense of confidence because inwardly they think that anger is the way to make people hear them, to make them be seen, to make them be noticed. So if they feel like they are vulnerable, perhaps there's like a weakness that they think that that is. And again, that goes back to if you were vulnerable, were you considered a weak child? Were you considered a child that wasn't capable? Were you considered a child that that was kind of casted to the side for being vulnerable and for being weak, right? For being weak, because it's not weak to be vulnerable, but perhaps, especially if you were raised by baby boomers, you were raised by people
Yeah.
that came from the 50s and the 40s. You know, you had there was like a certain portrayal of strength that was expected, a certain portrayal of I can keep going no matter what happens, no matter what is done, no matter how I feel, and are you now pushing your emotions down so much so that you're leading with anger to not have to feel what you need to feel?
Totally. That's so beautiful. And I think what I'm hearing as well, like as you're speaking, um, is there's this next layer of leadership that gets submerged, right? And we get to decide like how we're going to show up in our
Mm-hmm.
businesses because it all comes back to leadership. Like even when I do systems work with my clients, right? Like there's three core systems that I build in every business, right? There's like their content bank,
Mm-hmm.
there's their automated client onboarding, and then there's core recurring tasks to manage
Mm-hmm.
their inbox, their social media marketing, and program management, right? So those are the core systems that I'll build in a business. But none of that matters if we're not doing leadership work
Right.
because we could build all those things,
Mm-hmm.
but they can gather dust if we're not doing leadership work.
Right.
Because how you show up in your business, how you show up and lead your team is the difference between you burning out or you having
Right.
freedom.
Right, right, right. And also, you know, when it comes to being a leader, it's how are we leading ourselves first? And that's something that I've had to really come to terms with when it comes to how I'm leading myself as a woman for my kids, how I'm leading myself just for me. If we're not able to exude a level of leadership within ourselves, then of course it's going to trickle down into other parts of our life. One of the things that Jim Rohn says, and I love him. He's very dry, but I just love the
That's
dry.
okay.
Huh? What'd you
That's
say?
okay. Sometimes like the dry, but it's so potent.
Right, right. And I just kind of
Mhm.
like it. It's like it's straight to the point. And one of the things that he says is that if you the way you do one thing is usually the way you do everything. So if you're not leading yourself when it comes to just you, and if you're not displaying higher levels of leadership where you are in tune with how your emotions are affecting how you show up for yourself, right? Then of course it's going to trickle down into your business, and of course it's going to trickle down into your team. And at the end of the day, like you said, when it comes to having 6 and 7 figure businesses where now you're wanting to create more flow in your life and also continue to scale, if you're not leading yourself in an effective way, of course, you're not going to be able to lead your business. And of course, you're not going to be able to lead your team. And I feel like that's where stagnancy comes in. And higher levels of healing needs to come in, where now you're moving away layers of why you're perhaps getting in your own way. I talk about self-sabotage a lot, and it's really just removing layers of why you are not embodying the self-image of the person that's capable of achieving the goal that you desire. And it goes back to you needing to have deeper levels of healing that will come up as you continue to evolve. Because I feel like what I've also heard with 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs is that they thought that the money would make a certain pain point within themselves go away, or they thought that the money would make um, life easier. And of course, having the money makes certain parts of our life easier, absolutely. But there's also higher level problems that come up. And that means you're going to need to embody a higher level frequency of the solution. And if you don't, it's going to create that feeling of, hey, I'm not feeling fulfilled by this business anymore. I'm not feeling fulfilled by the people around me anymore. And it's not that responsibility, whereas the people or it's the business, it's really a joy that has to flow within you. As Eckhart Tolle says, it's not by doing the thing that brings the joy, it's by being the thing, being that person. The joy flows through us and doing the thing first. It's within us first. So that being said, if you're constantly looking for these external validations from your reality to make you happy, to make you feel fulfilled, then of course it's going to diminish your heart account and make you feel like this isn't what I thought for my life and envisioned for my life.
Agreed. It's you have to have both. At the core of it, everything is a balance, right? In some scenarios, we're going to be in different seasons where we're in an expansion season,
Right.
and then some scenarios we're going to be in capacity seasons. And so having that self-awareness muscle that like you help your clients develop, like that's so key to growing and scaling your business with like peace of mind and doing it profitably, because you need to know in any quarter of your business, whether Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, whether you're entering into an expansion quarter or into a capacity quarter in your business. And that every single quarter in your business is going to be an expansion quarter, you're actually creating a business you're going to want to escape from. You have to have capacity built into your business. It's like driving a car. You would never drive a car only hitting on the gas.
Right.
You hit a corner, you're going to hit that corner hard. Versus you need to put some brakes on, you know, some capacity, some systems, some like cleaning up our programs, some like cleaning up the client delivery, some, you know, like making sure we have templates, making sure we have SOPs, so that you can actually speed up into another expansion season in your business. If you only do expansion and don't do the back end, you're going to hate your business real quick.
I appreciate you saying that so much. And you having the comparison between the expansion and capacity seasons, because that's literally energetics in like a nutshell. Literally following your wave, understanding the hills where you're in that expansion season, in the wave where you're in an incline, and when you're needing to take that action and when you're needing to build and expand. And then also recognizing the season of when it's time to hone in, reset, understand what it needs to maintain this system, maintain the capacity that you're at, right? With making sure that you're fine tuning your car, you're getting your oil changes, you're making sure the fluids are tapped, are at the cap. Oh gosh, I know nothing about cars, but making sure that you have everything running in a systematic way where you can continue to expand the capacity when it's in that season. It's so important to recognize the season that you're in. And that's one of the things that Penny Pierce says in Frequency, is that you're not meant to constantly be on a steady incline. You're not meant to constantly be on a steady decline. You're always meant to be ebbing and flowing between hills where you're inclining and taking on more clients, and then the decline, which is not necessarily where things are going downward, but you're taking that time to realign with making sure that your systems are set up to maintain the capacity that you're at What lessons have you learned during that time? What can you do to implement better systems? I'm sure that you help your clients with this. It's like operational excellence when it comes to biotech. It's the same thing. And then again, preparing for that ramp up, preparing for acquiring more clients, acquiring more in your business.
Yeah, it's like we're always in this space of achieving and also appreciating, right? Because once you achieve something, there's always going to be a new desire, right? Instantly, fast. Like there's always going to be a new desire. And then we don't want to be rushing towards all these new desires, never taking moments to appreciate what we created. Because if you really, your listeners, my listeners watching this, if you really look at your life, you are in a position that you prayed for, like right now. Always, even if you're in a downturn, even if you're like, I'm in an income dip right now, what are you talking about? There's aspects of your life right now that you originally prayed for. Maybe you like really wanted to start creating courses, and for years you never created courses, but now you have courses. So you're already ahead compared to where you were, you know? And so it's that mixture of having that gratitude and then also having that hunger to go for the next thing. So it's balancing both of those within yourself. And when we start to bring on team, this is where things can get a little bit more next level, because now you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your team members. You're helping them achieve things in their roles. So as you grow and expand, you really have to step into the ultimate coach in your business. You don't want to baby your team and give them all the answers and have them only reliant on SOPs and they can't do anything outside of an SOP. And you don't want the extreme where they're holding everything and they burn out and they just were never supported in their role in the first place. So you, as the leader of your business, for you to actually create and scale and go beyond 6 figures, go beyond 7 figures, go beyond 8 figures, you know, you need to step more and more into the coach role.
I love that you said ultimate coach. Steve Hardison, right? Really great. Also, a few points, and then we're going to close this out. I love that you said achieving and appreciating and understanding what season that you're in, because we absolutely did pray for the position that we're in right now. And then I feel like what we have to realize is that that's our brain's natural way of moving the goalpost. You know, after you've achieved that thing, you know, you've accomplished the end of the means, right? So what happens is the dopamine wears off. Like your happy drug is like, oh, I've actually achieved it. Like it's like a male that pursues a woman, and then when he finally gets her, he no longer is excited about getting her, right? I mean, that's, I hope everybody understands that example. But like right? Like that's literally what it means. So when you move the goalpost, when you're saying, okay, I'm changing my upper limit now, it's like, okay, well, I still have to make sure that I savor this moment and understand that this was what I said I prayed for. I got it. I manifested it. Okay, now before I move the goalpost, let me make sure that I sit in gratitude for getting here in the first place, and then saying, okay, I'm going to now have another upper limit that I'm achieving. Now I'm in that dopamine dopamine hit again, where I'm like, now I'm trying to get something. I'm in that process. So if we can start to enjoy the process more and really allow ourselves to be in that moment, be present, that's where we get the most enjoyment anyway. That's literally where you're getting the most dopamine anyway, when you're in the process. So if you can find a way, and I know it's not always easy, to not say, okay, I'm going to be happy when I get this thing. I can achieve and still be in the process of achieving while still feeling good in this moment. That's where the most enjoyment actually happens, even on a biological level. And then I also appreciated you saying, like having that hunger. I feel like it's so important that we don't get complacent, because complacency is an easy place to get. And I've been there too, where we're like,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable where I am. Everything feels good. And I don't want to grow anymore beyond here. And one of the things that Les Brown says is, I love that he says, is that we're the only organism that doesn't consciously grow to our full potential until we force ourselves to. Trees,
Mm,
trees will do it. They will grow to their full
wow.
potential. Animals will literally, unconsciously, just continue to do whatever it is that they're programmed to do. But we have to literally deprogram ourselves from feeling bad for getting to our full potential, right? We have to stop saying, okay, we aren't unworthy. We are unworthy of having more. We are unworthy of being this high-end entrepreneur. Like, we have to stop telling ourselves all of these things of why we don't deserve to be at our full potential and have the life that we deserve. So it's okay to move the goalpost. It's okay not to be complacent. It's okay to want to scale. You're not a bad person for wanting more. It's just in how you acquire more and in the impact that you're making and the people that are being affected by it. Of course, making sure that you're doing it in a way that's loving and not in a way where it's diminishing someone else for you to grow. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Like, of course, some people aren't going to like that you grow, but if you're stepping on people along the way, that's what I mean, intentionally hurting people. You're not doing that. You're trying to grow, and you're also saying, okay, I can help you when I get there. That's the type of person that I'm talking about. So that being said, it's okay to grow to your full potential. It's okay to move the goalposts, but try to enjoy it along the way as well.
Agreed. That's so beautiful. I love that.
Wonderful,
Agreed.
wonderful. I love that we got to talk. I'm
Mhm.
glad that we figured it out with the tech issues and everything. We did it. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah. So if you guys want to stay connected, you can head to www.expansionwithamanda.com. I'm also doing a free Set It to Recurring Telegram broadcast on Monday. So it is a 4-day Telegram broadcast experience where I'm going to show you a repeatable launch process that you can run with your VA or super small team to grow and scale your business.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'll be making sure to tag people if I know anybody that could benefit from Amanda, which I'm sure I do. And yes, please make sure you follow Amanda, send her a friend request, send her a follow. And as for me, if you are someone that says, hey, I am ready to get to that next level in my business, I'm ready to get to the next level in my life or in your relationship, and you know that there's some repeated pattern that's getting in the way of doing that, and you're saying enough is enough, I'm ready to get into 2025 with a clean slate for myself, for yourself, and scale and build and make an impact, you have to do the healing, and it's time for you to get to your full potential. So send me a DM and we can talk about that. And this is the end of our segment. I just want to send you all so much love, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Yeah. Bye, Amanda.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.